lot more cans of Sierra Mist down in the refrigerator currently, thanks to my aunt having some extras that she gave to me because she had no use for them. I'm drinking another can of Sierra Mist, and this broadcast is brought to you by Sierra Mist. Haha. but but yeah. So guys, what is going on? How y'all doing tonight? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and I am here live for my live review of last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. Excuse me, I burped. We are going to talk about the July 27th, 2020 edition of Raw that took place at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Saying that how many times? I'm in a good mood. Got my CM Punk shirt on. Well, one of my 3 CM Punk shirts I have. My favorite one, though, is him putting the X across his, putting the X symbol up. That's still my favorite one that I have of him. Because I got it in a 3-pack for Christmas in 2016. Again, I called that CM Punkmas for me. So let's talk about Raw. Raw last night, it was a very back and forth show, I thought. I definitely gave this one a lower grade than I did, because in my opinion, there's a lot of things on Raw that are just really starting to drag out. It's getting boring, and to me, it's starting to not really do good. Like, there's some of the stuff that was starting out to do good, but then it didn't. The only thing on this show, I will say, that I can think about the top of my head that I really, really enjoyed is the beginning, the build to probably the main event of SummerSlam that they start hyping with the beginning and at the very end of this show. So I will give the WWE credit for that. I like that. Everything else was what it was, or I just thought it kind of just... it was one of the things where it's just like, okay, enough with this, pretty much. That's what I thought of it. But, yeah, let's check the live chat. We got Tyler. They killed the brand split. No ifs or buts about it. Talk about that later. I mean, I know we kind of have a little bit of disagreement on that, Tyler, but I understand your frustration with that. But again, I, of course, will give my thoughts on what happened with that women's title match. We'll talk about that. Why is Orton facing Drew at SummerSlam? I mean, to be honest, look what he's done this summer. He beat Edge in the greatest wrestling match of all time. No, it was not. But it was a great match. I did like it. But again, it was not the greatest wrestling match of all time. Pinned Orton. He beat Big Show. He is on a roll, so why not? I mean, he kind of has worked his way up the ladder to get to it, so I'm completely cool with it. And again, like I said, if it sets up with something down the line for McIntyre to get a big WrestleMania moment next year in front of fans, hopefully, I'm cool with it. Even though I wouldn't mind seeing Drew retain over Orton, we'll have to wait and see. But thank you for joining me live as always, Tyler, and leave your thoughts as well. Let's get to this review and talk about Raw. So the show opened up with Randy Orton coming out. And we get a recap of last week's unsanctioned match when he defeated the Big Show, which once again, I didn't see because I fell asleep during that main event last week. So Orton gets on the mic, and he talks about his Stone career. The Rock and Stone Cold can't hold a candle to his longevity or accomplishments. He's done what he wants, when he wants, for whoever he wants, his entire career, which will never change. Something's missing, though. He hasn't been able to put a finger on it, but this morning it hit him like a ton of bricks. He wants to be WWE Champion again. So that means he has to bring Drew McIntyre into the conversation. But comparing resumes with him would be a very short conversation. 10 years ago, Drew was the chosen one. But his head was so far up his ass, the only thing he chose to do was get fired. But hey, he scratched, and he clawed, and he got his way back through NXT with his ambition, hustle, and that earned him Orton's respect. He talked about how McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania in 5 minutes, and then says, though, they've got a problem. he wants what McIntyre has. And he has a tendency to just take what he wants. So he puts this right on the front street. He wants a title shot at SummerSlam. And when he RKOs him and puts the title over his shoulder, believe him, you'll never see it coming. Great promo by Orton. Great delivery. Again, I've said this how many times for the past couple years. When Randy Orton really puts 100% into it, he really can come across as realistic. Like, this promo was great. Like, the promos he's been cutting lately as a heel have definitely been some of his bests. I say this respectively, but Randy Orton at times obviously comes across as bored. And you can tell what he's doing, he really doesn't want to do. But what I do like about Randy Orton also is the fact that he can easily pull off the I don't give a fuck mode pretty much very, very effectively. And still be entertaining about it. And you can tell, because even I remember someone was saying this back in January. I remember, I think it was the Raw before the Royal Rumble. McIntyre had that one-on-one match with Orton. And Orton sold his ass off big time for McIntyre. Like, him and McIntyre had a really good match, had really good chemistry. You could tell that Orton actually wants to work with Drew McIntyre. And actually, wants to actually make this good. And I really think, based off of this promo, we're coming in for a very interesting ride built into this WWE title match at SummerSlam. But of course, let's get to some not so entertaining things. As soon as Randy Orton walks out, guess who comes out? For the first time, I would say, since she took out Charlotte Flair, I think the first Raw or the second Raw after Backlash. That's right. Nia Jax. Nia Jax returned. She comes out. She gets on the microphone. Randy, I know how you feel. You woke up and realized you wanted to be WWE Champion. Well, I woke up and I wanted to be Raw Women's Champion. I was screwed out of my victory, and then Charlotte Flair butted her way in. But she's not here no more. So I want to make sure when Asuka and Sasha fight later, basically, she's coming after them next. Nah. Again, Nia. You are falling right into the definition of cheap heel heat, just like Baron Corbin. You go on the internet and you tweet about legitimately injuring superstars, try to get heel heat. That does not make you look good. And then your promo skills, I'm sorry, I do not like them. They're horrendous. Oh, everybody's talking about me. Who did that? Me. And again, remember, she freaking cost herself because she lost her cool and pushed the referee. So obviously she was going to get in trouble anyway. So why do you think we need to believe that she should be getting another title opportunity when, remember, she shouldn't. So she's complaining about that. Then out comes Shayna Baszler, who gets right in Nia's face, tells her nobody gives a damn about what she wants, which is true. And then they start to brawl, and the referees broke them up. Setting up for... we'll get to that later. So then, we have the Street Profits come out, announce a number one contenders triple threat match to come next. And the winner of that match will face them for the Raw Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam. Well, of course, you just gotta bring out the only options. The Viking Raiders, who we've already feuded with, had a very, very, very unentertaining storyline with, even though I thought their matches were decent. Except for that cinematic, whatever the hell that was, at Backlash. A team that I actually think has a lot of potential, Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. And a team of Andrade Cien Almas and Angel Garza. It was very obvious, and it happened. Angel Garza and Andrade Cien Almas win. One week, they're fine, they're buddies, they're great. Next week, they're losing, they're bickering. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrade and Garza both won the tag titles at SummerSlam. But again, I've grown so old of this alliance. Because once again, they were doing nothing but losing, bickering for weeks, kept losing, then they win one week. Then they're fine the next week. They're best buddies. They lose next week, they hate each other again. It's just like, you gotta have a smoother definition of frenemies. And to me, I feel like you're just really going back and forth with it way too much. It's just gotten so old that I still can't even believe that these two are fighting for the Raw tag titles. Don't get me wrong, I love them both. They're both great talents in the ring for sure. Definitely great single stars for sure. It's just, you've gone back and forth so much with the storyline that why should I be taking these guys seriously contending for the tag titles? And knowing the fact that they're most likely going to win them, I'm just like, but why? Like, you know, like, where, like, just once again shows there's no depth in this tag team division at all. Like, I'm sorry, but I am, again, even though once again I don't want the brand split to end because it's gonna end up, it would end a lot of opportunities, and while I want to see the same exact thing on both shows, I still think some of these titles need to be merged, especially the tag team division. I'm sorry, there's not enough depth to have two divisions. And with how many teams you've been breaking up and leaving them nothing to do, but the moment you actually need a contender for the tag titles, then all of a sudden you're acting like they're a good team. No, that does not work that way at all. So I'm sorry, like why should I take Andrade and Garza seriously as a tag team if they've been super back and forth? You know, like I don't. I'm sorry. I just don't. So, we're getting that match at SummerSlam. Then we have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They just randomly started beating the crap out of each other. Went to a draw, a double count out. And afterwards, they continued to brawl and take out security as well. Apparently, Nia Jax got fined. And I'm just like, oh, what the hell? Especially with what happened later with the Raw Women's Championship. I have no clue what's going to be the match now for SummerSlam. I don't. I mean, I'm trying to put together card predictions, but who knows? So these two just brawled it out. I hope we don't get a match with Nia and Shayna at SummerSlam. I have no interest in that at all. But of course, Nia gets, the suspension. Like, again, she continues, again, like, you're trying to book her as a legitimate heel. Instead, you've made her as a heel we only want to see on TV. Like, if this is like Samoa Joe heel pretty much doing this, then we're talking. This is Nia Jax, who just doesn't do anything that just makes you think, oh yeah, she's a cool heel. Like, you're not supposed to like heels, I get it, but you're booking her as the heel where it's like you want her off your TV. You don't want to see her. Go away. But yeah, so that happens. Complete waste of time, of course. And of course, we got. Here's, speaking of something else that's just getting way too long. We have Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy backstage. And, apparently Dominic Mysterio is going to be showing up on Raw. And Rollins says, we're going to go out there and just have a proper chat with Dominic. So they go out. Seth says he beat Rey Mysterio at Extreme Rules and he beat Aleister Black on Raw last week. He's not done, though. He knows Dominic is here, and he's ready to confront him. This is a recurring theme. Every time the greater good takes 2 steps forward, someone steps in his way, and he is forced to take a step back. So someone seems to get hurt every step of the way. Kevin Owens broke his ankle at WrestleMania. Rey Mysterio lost an eye, and last week Aleister Black injured his arm. That's not how Seth Rollins wants things to be. He doesn't want to hurt people. And so it's going to be different. He doesn't want violence. He just wants a soft spot for the Mysterio family. So he invites Dominic to come out to the ring. As Dominic slowly makes his way down, he's hesitant. Seth calls him down and basically, he's like, come on, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. He gets in the ring. Seth tells Dominic, I just want you to understand that he's here if you ever need guidance, and he's open arms. And Dominic was not going to take that, of course, because Dominic goes for a raw brawl, and then Seth and Murphy just beat down on him. Like, it looked like they were beating up a little kid, for crying out loud. They continue the brawl and to smash him into the announce table and the barricades and whatnot. And then Seth just snaps, like, when are you going to learn? But then he goes over and sees the steel steps. He's like, this isn't going to be my fault. Basically implying that they're going to basically take out Dominic's eye. Like, enough with the eye stuff. Again, the whole eye for an eye match just killed it for me. It made me sick of it. It's like, it's getting old. I liked it when it first started out a couple months ago, but especially with how dumb that finish was at Extreme Rules, the horror show, I'm like, enough already with the eye stuff. But then we have more. Aleister Black came out with his arm, of course, taped up, and he comes in, tries to help out Dominic, but he gets cut off too as they target his arm. And then, of course, they hit a stomp on him on the step on the floor, and then Rollins starts yelling at Murphy, telling him, "You know what you have to do, and are you for real? And you think you can be at my level?" And he slaps Murphy, and then that fires up Murphy. So he drags Aleister over to the steps, and he then, pierces Aleister Black's eye, just like we've seen him Seth do the Rey Mysterio. So we got that, and then Aleister was taken out. And then Dominic gets a freaking kendo stick, and he starts hammering the crap out of both Rollins and Murphy, scaring them off. Again, this whole eye stuff. Enough with the eye. Enough with piercing the eyes. It's getting old. And again, like I said before, the whole thing with the eye for an eye match just killed it for me. And the other thing, of course, that kills me too is, I'm starting to hear rumors that apparently Vince McMahon is not too high on Aleister Black. And apparently the only reason why Aleister got a push was because of Paul Heyman. Well, one, hello, did you see his match against Cesaro last year, Extreme Rules? Did you see his series of matches around Christmas and the New Year with Buddy Murphy, especially the one at TLC last year? Have you seen any of his matches in NXT? You're telling me Aleister Black is not good enough to be a main eventer? I swear, if they bury Aleister Black, I'm going to be tweeting directly to Vince telling how much of an idiot he is. Because that's just complete BS. You're saying Aleister Black is not a star. Ridiculous. So, what's this going to lead to? A match with Seth and Dominic? I'm all for Dominic getting a chance in the ring. I just don't know how I feel about his first match being against Seth Rollins. I'm not crazy about it. Again, I still hope, and I'm going to put this out for my SummerSlam predictions, they need to do Aleister Black and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. One, Aleister Black should be in a big headliner match. And two, they've already done this match 2 or 3 times on Raw, and it's freaking good. So on pay-per-view, it should be even more awesome. But Dominic and Seth? I'm not digging that. I want it to be Aleister and Seth. So do me a favor. Book that match, and please don't bury Aleister Black. If anyone gets buried, and that would piss me off a lot, it's Aleister Black. Aleister freaking Black. Is there anyone that Vince McMahon, besides his hand-picked golden boys that he just adores like crazy and probably has a shrine and dreams about them all the time, is there anyone that Vince McMahon actually likes? Because I swear everyone I hear about, he's not high on them. Is there anybody he actually thinks is worth it that hasn't, been around for how many years? Anyone? Ridiculous. So we had that segment. We'll check. Let's check the live chat and go to the live chat first. See what we've got here. Let me see. What's up, TN Couponer? I'm pretty good about yourself. Edge got Sword Orton at SummerSlam. I think originally I heard a rumor the main SummerSlam we're supposed to have match 3 with Edge and Orton. It's supposed to be an I Quit match, but because of Edge's injury, that's been pushed till WrestleMania or the Rumble. I'm hearing now. Let me see here. Oh. Edge and Christian could screw Orton at SummerSlam, maybe. He likes Sasha and Asuka match. Now the two women power trip have all the main roster titles, which I will get to that. You do it with my impression, sure thing. Yes, not just in WWE, but 2020 in general just sucks. Still think Asuka will get a rematch at SummerSlam. Same. We do need a refund on 2020. What the WWE is right now is they don't give a crap. Oh, they don't. Again, because the ratings are still higher than everything else. So until the ratings are not higher than everything else, they're not going to care. The ratings can continue to drop, and it wouldn't surprise me if at some point WWE had an hour of Raw that was under 1 million. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. Whenever Murphy gets sick of Rollins, we should get Murphy versus Rollins, which will be good. No one, Vince is high but himself. Yeah, for sure. He isn't. Because he's just, again, this has to be his own freaking playground. And he can do whatever the heck he wants. Which is stupid. Anyways, let's move on now, though. Thank you for that, guys. So backstage, we have the Hurt Business getting ready for the VIP lounge. And then MVP introduces his guest, which is... Oh, I'm sorry. Before I get to that, his special guest was Mustafa Ali. But backstage, we had Ali hanging out with R-Truth, who wants to chat with him about his appearance on the VIP lounge and his match with Bobby Lashley. Truth then grills him about whether he's coming for a 24/7 title, to which Ali says he's not. And then he says, "I've got my eyes on you, Mufasa." He's like, "I ain't Mufasa." Again, it still cracks me up how 5 years ago I thought R-Truth was one of the most annoying idiots on this show. And now, I think ever since he went to SmackDown in 2018, and he started teaming up with Carmella, that whole thing, I'm going to pin Carmella. Oh, Truth, put me down. That's what's up! Ever since then, I've been like a big R-Truth fan. It's amazing how, something that I wasn't a fan of can just turn me around and actually crack me up. But R-Truth is after to get his baby back. His 24/7, 48/7 European I-95, or he wants to call it, championship. But anyway, so Mustafa Ali was the special guest on the VIP lounge. But MVP says the lounge is where good decisions and good things happen. But when you make the wrong decisions, you become a dissatisfied client of the Hurt Business, which happened to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. And then Ali's like, no, I'm not having it. And just so you know, we beat you guys last week in a 6-man tag match, which was a really good match. Mustafa's happy to be back, to be on Raw, and have opportunities to climb the ladder and become a champion. But MVP is like, when you hang out with the right people, good things happen. But Ali says, I think for myself and always will. MVP is like, oh, you're not thinking very clearly. Don't forget what the CEO of the Hurt Business can do to you later tonight, Bobby Lashley. He tells about Apollo Crews, who is at home on his couch, watching this conversation. And you can either join them and party like a rock star, or go sit next to Crews on the couch. Be a champion, or be a chum in the water for predators. And Ali's like, I don't care. The more he thinks about it, but as he's thinking about it, out comes R-Truth, the blindside, Shelton Benjamin, who tries to get his championship back, but it doesn't work and he runs away. So then we have Bobby Lashley and Mustafa Ali in a decent match. Lashley wins, though, with the swinging full Nelson submission. And that was that. So I don't know if... and also during the match, we had Akira Tozawa and his ninjas come out, try to win the 24/7 title off of Shelton Benjamin. That is still seriously a thing. Akira Tozawa and his ninjas. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja, go Ninja. No, not a fan of it. So that was very clumsy and chummy and whatnot, but Bobby Lashley wins. And then backstage afterwards, we have an interview with Dolph Ziggler, who apparently, well, I wasn't sure when the match was happening, but the match with him and Drew McIntyre, the rematch, happened last night. And of course, Drew McIntyre says he's going to pick the stipulation. Dolph has no clue what the stipulation is, but he doesn't care. He's waited this long, and Orton's going to have to get behind him because he's winning tonight and winning the title at SummerSlam. Ha 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 ha, yeah, right. Then of course, here comes the messiest part of the show, in my opinion. So we get a recap of what happened with the Raw Women's Championship match from Extreme Rules and the fallout, of course. Out comes the Golden Role Models themselves, Bayley and Sasha Banks. Of course, Bayley is not allowed to get involved in this match, or else Sasha will still lose the championship by countout or disqualification, you name it all. So Sasha says Stephanie McMahon is jealous of her because she's making her defend her title tonight before moving on to talking about how they're the show and they're the good fight and so on. Out comes the Kabuki Warriors and Kairi Sane runs off Bayley. And we have the match. It's no champion's advantage pretty much. It's basically deciding who's the actual winner. Of course, first off, I always put them over. They definitely had a good match. A good match! With some good drama involved in it. But for the second time in 8 days, we get a very finish that I'm just not a fan of. So like I said before, no one was allowed to get involved in this match. But they have a cameraman start filming Bayley taking out Kairi Sane backstage, which apparently was to write Kairi Sane off of television because she's officially done with the WWE. And there's a lot of people posting thank you Kairi stuff on the internet, so I'm guessing that was Kairi Sane being written off the show. So that happens after some good back and forth drama in the ring, and it's distracting Asuka. So Asuka finally gets up and runs into the back and takes a count out loss. And Sasha Banks is your Raw Women's Champion. She's officially 2 belts Banks. Here's my thing. Yes, I've definitely been starting to get very annoyed by Bayley as a heel. I think she is annoying. If you were going to go all out with this stable, though, saying that they're taking over, I'm okay with putting the title on Sasha. I just hate how they did it. Why couldn't... yes, I know they were trying to, cause distraction, but one, it looked dumb because why would... If your chief branding officer basically says someone is not allowed to get involved, why would you still have a cameraman film Bayley attacking Kairi Sane? Like, why would you do that? That's still, in some ways, her being involved and her trying to cause a distraction to the match. And the fact that Sasha won by countout? Like, how does that make her look? You've already had enough of her winning the championship and then losing it in the rematch. 2016 and even 2017 when she feuded with Alexa Bliss. Won the championship at SummerSlam, lost it 2 weeks later to Alexa Bliss again. Why do it by count out? If you really wanted to do something, you could have had just, her pass out to the bank statement or something like that. Again, I'm not upset that Sasha won. And again, I know Tyler thinks it means the brand split's dead. Again, my thing is they haven't overkilled it with this whole brand invitation. Again, the only reason why Bayley and Sasha are on both shows again is because they're women's tag team champions. We're supposed to be defending the belts on all shows. So I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that because of that reason. If Sasha was not the women's tag team champions, then I'd have a problem with this. But I just hate the finish. Like, why couldn't you just have this Sasha legitimately beat Asuka and not just have, like, Asuka run away and once again have Sasha just look like... Again, to actually capitalize on, Bayley and Sasha, getting all the gold, I think is a good idea. But they could have done it better. And not had her get it by freaking count out. I just thought it was dumb. I didn't like that. I didn't like how it finished. So it disappointed me, I thought. So yeah, of course we have 2 belts, Banks, and Bayley Dose straps. So who knows now when we're going to be getting that match with Bayley and Sasha Banks. Who knows now? Honestly, Asuka's probably going to win the title back at SummerSlam. Although, if they keep it on them, maybe have Bayley and Sasha fight at Survivor Series one-on-one, but don't, start to tease the downfall. Basically, start to tease, the testing their waters. But, again, my thing, though, is how are we supposed to get there at this point? And also, that just hurts this more is the fact that, once again, you should have had this feud back in 2018. And you've really dragged your feet on it and just made Sasha and Bayley look like idiots on the way. To the point now, it's just like, are we ever going to believe the match is going to happen, So, yeah, very mixed about Sasha winning. Again, it's not because she won and she's on SmackDown. Again, I can forgive that because, again, she's Women's Tag Team Champion as an excuse to be on both shows. It's not like we're having, random people showing up on all shows just for the hell of it. But again, it's just like, I hated the finish. I hated it. So, we got that. And then, let me see what else we got here. Of course, so we have Bayley and Sasha celebrating backstage, but Asuka yells at them, but pretty much in Japanese. And then we get a match with Buddy Murphy and Humberto Carrillo. Buddy Murphy has a new theme, which I thought was actually good. I liked it much better than his biker-sounding theme that he had before, which I thought was dumb. I still don't get why he took away his original theme. But he faces Carrillo. I don't get why Carrillo just randomly returned after getting curb stomped by Seth Rollins to the steel steps a few weeks ago. The end of the match wasn't bad. Murphy wins. And then we have our main event. Drew McIntyre comes out. First, he wants to address Randy Orton. And officially, he's accepting his challenge to defend the title against him at SummerSlam. But he's not going to stay out here and pretend he's got the pedigree or the numbers game on Orton. Because realistically, nobody does. And he's on fire right now. And definitely the biggest threat to Drew's title reign. And people may think he's the underdog. But he's fine with that. And he wants Orton to know, he may not see an RKO coming out of nowhere, but he's going to see that Claymore kick coming down. Because his Claymore is bigger than his. I still love that line and how Orton just, corpse is like, you kidding me? He just did that pretty much earlier. But he basically accepted the challenge. So out comes Dolph Ziggler. Which this match was, in the end, a non-title match. So like I said before, you could have just had this match on Raw and not even had a better match for Drew McIntyre Extreme Rules. Well, a better opponent, at least. So Dolph comes out, ranting about waiting long enough to hear the stipulation. Drew waited even longer for it. He wants to know. Drew was like, I was inspired by your Extreme Rules selection, and we're going to do the same thing. Except this time, I can do it too. And he tags Ziggler with a microphone. So we have Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler in a non-title match, Extreme Rules match. I mean, the match was decent to solid, but again, why do the same thing except basically, oh, you can do the same thing to me again, but now I can do it to you? It was just cheap. I would have done, honestly, again, I wanted this to be Dolph's career on the line. And honestly, because Dolph needs to get out. What else? Why is he still here? What's he gonna do besides continue to be just the idiot who just loses all the time? You book him and make him looking smart. It's like, okay, he can actually look smart, but once again, you're booking him to lose to everyone pretty much. So of course, Drew beats him. Afterwards, Orton RKO's out of nowhere and stands over him with the title, and that's how the show went off the air. So again, super back and forth show. The only thing I really enjoyed is the stuff with McIntyre and Orton. Again, I am actually very looking forward to that match. Everything else, you know, Garza and Andrade is dragging way out too much. Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio, gosh, the river of the end of the Aleister Black push. And of course, again, the finish to the Raw Women's title match. So, I'm giving this show a C minus. That's what I'm going to give Raw. C minus. Live chat before we go off the air. What do we got here? Now Raw don't have a women's champion. Asuka is dead. I don't think Asuka's dead. Nah. It really would have been a surprise to me if Dolph would have won the title Extreme Rules. Could have been, but once again, I could not believe it would happen. But guys, that's going to do it. Again, I'm trying to get my car predictions on this week. But again, it's just super hard again with my sister going to be going home on, even if we go back home on Friday. So we don't have a lot planned for the next couple of days. But again, I'm trying my best to get these car predictions out. Still hoping to get a good amount of views on them because I don't get that many views on my car predictions anymore. TNK Bar gave it a C plus for Raw tonight, but I'll see what I can do, guys. Of course, tomorrow or Thursday I will do AEW and NXT reviews if I'm able to. SmackDown on Friday. Again, I have a wedding gig on Saturday, so I'm going to try to get everything caught before my gig on Saturday. He wants Charlotte back. Not sure when Charlotte's coming back, but taking a break might be a good thing. But yeah. So yeah, that's my plan for the rest of the week. Hoping to get the match cards done, and of course, once my sister leaves, things are going to settle back down again. I'm not going to be as busy still busy with work and such, but I'm hoping to get some content a little more consistent, and I'm trying to do a top 10 again, guys. Again, I just don't have the time to get set up, but I'll try to get one in again. But that's going to do it, guys. C minus for Raw for me. What are your thoughts on Raw? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video, subscribe or comment on my channel, and follow me on Twitter at TheManAirBoy93. Until then, guys, I am checking out. I will see you all later. Have a good rest of your Tuesday night. Peace out, everybody.